part 9 of the custom seat for the Griso Cafe Bruiser. So it's 22 degrees outside. It's a beautiful day. Done my daily exercise for an hour. What I continued with yesterday is that the seat tailpiece is now looking nice and finished to a point where I can continue. And rather than putting little brackets on here, I've made a one layer of fiberglass thick and cut it out to shape. So that's we're just going to bond that into the rear there to save having to bond any little brackets in, and that will then slide onto the seat base. I've just sanded in some sort of halfway through the fiberglass so that I've got something to bond onto and I can bring it around, and then when I've cleaned it up and all sanded it off, I'm not going to lose any of that strength. What I've done is I've used that fiberglass and just bonded it in around that back edge with a couple of layers of fiberglass, and just trimmed it up and just sanded up any excess dribbles or runs. So that now just will fit on there like that, and all I've got to do is just fix a couple of little brackets here, and when that's locked down and the seat cover's on, that'll be nicely firmly fixed, and I can then make any slight adjustments as appropriate. So it's still really warm outside. It's 20 odd, it's supposed to be 26 today, but so I've been struggling with fitting brackets and thinking about how to fit them and all the rest of it. So what I have done, as I said before, I've got this tail bit here, and I've also laminated in some brackets, about 4 or 5 layers, all strengthened across the back there as well. And so now they will just fit on, slide on, and then they bolt in from underneath. And that's looking quite tidy. And as you can see, so that just slides in there like that, and that just goes nice and tight there, bolted into the bottom, one in the centre as well. So I've got a 3-point fixing, and that all fits nice and snug. So I think I can turn my attention now just to some minor fitting detail, but that's all looking pretty good. And then I can start on the foam base. Making progress, slowly. Back to the garden now for some beer and barbecue, all in total isolation of course. Right. Back in the garage, I'm going to put a layer of P38, plastic padding as it used to be called, over the surface of the fiberglass, which is sort of like 4 or 5 layers thick, and build that up and give it a sort of a finish. So yeah, it's probably not the legit way of doing things, but I saw Dell doing it, it seemed to work for him, so we'll give that a go. Right, first layer on. Going to take some sanding down. But no, I used it before on the engine cowlings, and that worked quite successfully. And yeah, it involves a bit more sanding, and but we'll get there. Right, been some great weather. So spending a little bit more time out in the garden with the family, as you'd expect. So I've put, let's have a quick look. I've put a layer of plastic padding over this fiberglass. I've got a couple of bits to do. There's a slight high spot here. It feels a little bit more curvy there, a little bit more like a corner there, only very slightly. And that's, I've done quite a lot of filler and rubbing and sanding and strengthening the fiberglass just on this joint here. And I'll just show you a bit more detail. So I've got a little bit more hand finishing to do here, just to lose that sort of corner. I've left it in there to get the shape right, but it will be a little bit more subtle as in the side. And what I've done here, I've left just a very slight gap so that the seat material can come round. And also, if I can get this off, yeah, hold on. So, just with that removed, you can see, so that the material can come round there, I've just built this bit up here and then sanded a little slot in there for the fabric to come round and tuck in there. And the same on this side, you can probably see it a little bit better, where this slot, just where that fabric's going to tuck in. So, getting very, very close now to just going to give it a coat of etching primer, and then just black, just to finish off the underside of the base, and then start on the foam. So I've spent over the last 3 days a couple of hours here and a couple of hours there, just tidying it all up, making sure that it all fits nicely, and then the final finish and fit will be done on this tail piece when the actual seat cover's on. Good. Overall, quite pleased with that. It's definitely coming on, taking shape, but it's a very slow process. Fiberglass and plastic padding, it's easy to work with, but it's not too precise, so it's a case of going over it again and sanding and building it up and sanding it, and it takes some time. So, whilst I was researching on the internet, I came across this magnificent beast, and whilst I'm not looking to change the design on this one, you have to admire the workmanship that's gone into that. It's mightily impressive. Right, I've just given that a light coat of etching primer, just to prior to primer, and just a black coat, and that's pretty. And I let that dry off significantly before I do anything else on that. But that's now sort of ready to do the foam, which is good because I'm getting a bit bored with doing all the fiberglass and the filler and getting it all smooth and sort of nicely fitted. So yeah, what I'm now doing, put that there, is turning my attention to the tailpiece, which I've given 2 coats of filler and smoothed it down, and that's feeling very nice and smooth. So, but there are a few, and I'm not sure whether this is going to really, no, you're not going to see this, but some very, very small pinholes, which you always get in filler. So I'm now going to use dolphin glaze, which is just basically very fine filler. Use the same hardener, and this is all by U-Pol, all part of the same company. So you just coat that, let that go off hard, and then we can really rub that down very fine, wet and dry, getting increasingly finer, fills in all the holes, and then I'm ready to paint that as well. So until then, I'll catch up with you next time.